What's going on, everybody? Happy hump day. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're all doing well. I got a fantastic group of gentlemen with me today. We've got Max Coverage up on here. We've got the Ace Avenue, and we got NFE from TheStrikeZone. Okay? Fantastic channels. And I'm going to link all their channels down below once the live stream is over. So if you're not subscribed to these guys, you can do that. Please make sure that you do subscribe and support these gentlemen and turn on your notifications, because when news comes on, when news comes out, I should say, you're going to get it from all of us. So we greatly appreciate it. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on today. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Doing good, man.
Decent. Good.
Yeah. First and foremost, I got to congratulate Aaron Judge and his wife Samantha had their first baby today. So congratulations to them. It's great news. Wish them all the best. I think her name is Nora Rose, if I'm not mistaken. Yankees made a couple of roster moves today too. Right? Forget
some big ones.
Forget Nico Horn. Forget these guys. The Yankees got their third baseman. Yeah. All waivers, baby.
Oh man.
Yeah. And they got was it Evan White, his name?
Owen
White. Right-handed pitcher from off waivers from the Reds. And again, these folks, and I don't know if you guys, but these could be depth moves as a step to moving other guys. That maybe they're positioning themselves to make a multiplayer trade. Because now that we've heard the Marlins today are now willing to take on expensive veteran contracts. That could change things for the Yankees. And the Yankees now have a potential trade partner with the Marlins, right? And we've talked about Marcus Stroman going there and some other folks going there. Trent Grisham. They could so it presents another opportunity for the Yankees. So, what do you guys think of this? Can you see the Marlins as a trade partner for the Yankees?
I think so. I mean, they haven't spent any money, like we already alluded to last time we teamed up together. I mean, the Marlins haven't done anything, so they don't want to get in trouble. They got to make some kind of move here. And hey, I mean, even if the Yankees have to pay down some of that contract with Stroman, we've already touched on it, but I would be okay with them eating up $5 million, $7 million maybe. That would still free up $11 million if it's $7 million. So I think, if you look at the Marlins moves, they trade away Jesus Luzardo. So they have a couple of slots in that starting rotation that they need a starting pitcher. It makes sense. It makes sense that Miami went that route. Or even, like you said, Trent Grisham could make some sense. And that's another $5 million that could be off the book. So I think Miami definitely could make a move to, get Stroman or Grisham off our hands.
They also lost Braxton Garrett, the UCL surgery.
Yeah.
And they've got two, Yuri Perez, who's coming back off Tommy John, and Sandy Alcantara. You don't know the status of their pitchers right now. It's very injury prone. So they could use a guy that can throw some innings, 150 plus innings, and Marcus Stroman, as we know, can do that. So, and it presents another opportunity for the Yankees. So I'm hoping that Brian Cashman's on the phone right now, talking to some people. So, but we're going to break down Baseball America's newest top 30 Yankees prospect list. Okay, it just came out. Okay, love to know what you guys are thinking. Let us know in the chat what you guys and gals are thinking too. Shout out to all of you in the chat. Thank you for coming on. So let's get into this, guys. We'll go reverse order. And we'll go in groups again. Griffin Herring is a left-handed pitcher. He's number 30. He's playing for the Florida Coast League, the Yankees. He was a 6th round pick in 2024. I don't know if you noticed, guys, but I'm sure you guys do, but the people in the chat, pretty much most of the draft picks in, I think 17 out of 20 were college pitchers in the 2024 draft. And none of them really started their pro career yet, which is kind of unorthodox for the Yankees. Generally, when the guys get drafted, they go right to the pros. Hardly any of them don't have any pro stats. So I don't know why that is. It could be a developmental thing for the Yankees. Maybe they're just looking to keep people healthy, but they definitely wanted to stock up their pitching because they traded upwards of 25 to 30 pitchers over the last 5 or 6 years. So it's a way of recouping that. But Griffin Herring, left-handed pitcher, from LSU. We got a couple of LSU guys. And Eric Raiselman, who's here, was a right-handed pitcher. He's 23 years old. He's their number 29. He's a 5th-round pick, also out of LSU. And a little small sample size, but he's 1-1 in 31 games at a 1.16 ERA. 63 strikeouts in 38 innings pitched. So a strikeout guy. You guys have any thoughts on any of these two guys?
I'm glad that they're
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, you
Go
could
ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was about to say, don't everybody speak at once.
I
I mean,
well, I'm
ahead.
glad they're getting some lefties. That's what we need. That's what everyone wants. I got to do some more intel on Razelman, but Griffin Herring. I mean, I that's what we need. That's what the whole fan base wants is more left-handed pitching, and I like that a lot. I know jumping fast forward to Michael Arias, we just got him. He's at 27, so we already added more prospects into this little top at 30. But I mean, I like the lefties, so keep them coming. That's what I would say.
Yeah. In my opinion, you can never have too many pitching prospects. Either to develop them, which at that level, you know what I'm saying, you're going to see inflated numbers from these kids because they're really trying to develop their pitching arsenal and their secondary stuff. But some of these guys might be trade bait, especially lower end of the prospects. I'm looking forward to this list. Everson Pereira is dropping. Like, he is dropping like a stone. And, we heard the reports of the Yankees talking about he might have a prominent role on this team. A guy that had some good power, but kind of looked overmatched at the major league level. At this point in time, I'm looking at a guy like him off this 6 people that we're looking at as a guy that's possibly either going to be depth off the bench. Maybe that gives you, like, Max had alluded to earlier, maybe get rid of Trent Grisham, maybe Everson Pereira joins the bench, or you just trade him away.
Yeah, he went from 4 last year to 25 this year. So, and that's, partly due, mostly, I guess, through coming off Tommy John surgery. So, unfortunately, when you get, and for those that, like, a lot of people are saying the Yankees farm system has dropped, just to put it in perspective, there are a lot of reasons why that happens, right? A lot of their top prospects are in a lower level of the system, right now. When you promote guys to the majors, and they promoted 3 guys last year to the majors full time, your system takes a hit. And when you trade away players that are productive, which is what they did, it takes a hit too. So there's a lot of reasons why the system takes a hit. But just as a testament to the strength, you brought up Michael Abreu. He was number 18 in the Cubs system. He's 27 in ours. And the Cubs system is top 5 in baseball. Michael Arias, yeah.
Yep.
Cubs system is top 5 in baseball. So I do think our farm is stronger than 29. Just by that metric alone. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I do think we're stronger than 29.
I would hope
think we
so,
are.
because then they're doing some wrong stuff before 29th. So
Yeah.
I was going to say the Yankees have gotten better with scouting and drafting players over the years. So, their farm system is a lot better than where it used to be. So, number 29, I beg to differ on that. I know it's opinion based, but I think that's way too low for the Yankees farm.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And 28 is Brando Maella. He was a top, international signing at Dominican Republic a couple years ago. He's also with the Florida Coast League. So he's only 19 years old, but he's batted 281 batting average, and he has about 19 stolen bases. So the sample sizes are not that big for some of these players, but some of the metrics stand out. Good batting averages, high stolen bases for quite a few of these guys, high OPSs. So things that we're looking for in our players, we're getting from some of these guys. We just need them to be continually progressing up towards the system. And it takes us to 27, which is Arias, right? Who we got in the Cubs, he's 23-year-old righty, 182 innings pitched and 227 strikeouts. So again, he's a guy that averages about 12 Ks per 9, which is one of the things that we needed, right? We're strikeout pitchers. That's one of the biggest frustrations of the Yankee fans last year. We didn't strike out a lot of guys. We brought in about 4 of those guys that average at least 12 Ks in innings pitched. So he's one of them. You guys have any thoughts on Arias?
You touched on it. He's 23. It's with a lot of years of control. So the strikeouts is what we all love. That's one thing that I feel like the Yankees have kind of importantized like this whole offseason is getting guys that can have a high strikeout rate in that bullpen. And, another low risk, high reward kind of move here with Michael Arias, 23 years old. You can't beat that, man. Matt Blake, Mike Harkey, and all these other guys. The sky's the limit. And that's another underrated move that maybe the Yankees make this offseason is getting guys like Michael Arias and, developing these guys. And hopefully we'll see these guys a couple of years down the line.
And continuing to add like these guys on the cheap with controllable years, it makes it easy for them to spend on the rotation if they need to spend on the rotation. It makes it easy to spend on position players, which they do too. So, they do a really good job at acquiring controllable year relief pitchers on the cheap. So,
Yeah.
and Fernando Cruz, another guy that they got from the Reds, he averages 15 Ks per nine. So, which
Big
is
numbers.
yeah. And Devin Williams, what does he average? 14 Ks per nine. So that's 3 right there. That's money arms right there from the right-handed side. And you add Tim Hill and his crafty pitching from the lefty side now. He's now back in the fold. You have the makings of and Johnny Loizaga too, and you have the makings of a pretty good bullpen. So, and there's other guys we haven't even mentioned. So and I do think it leaves them room. It leaves them flexibility to package somebody in a trade if they need to add somebody to get a Nico Horner, add somebody if they're going to get someone else. So it makes it easier to do that now. Which I think is a good thing. But continuing on this list, some of these people I never heard of, like Angel Ferreira, who's number 26. He's a catching prospect. He's 20 years old. He's also in the Florida Coast League. Bats righty, throws righty, but he has a 301 batting average, 8 homers, 31 ribbies, and a 984 OPS. So, a productive depth from the catching position. The Yankees have a lot of depth from the catching position. So, and then you have Everson Pereira at the 25 spot. So he's coming off TJ, so got to give him a little bit of room. And thankfully, they've acquired Brennan Davis in a trade too, and have some positional flexibility so they don't have to throw Pereira to the Wolves. And they still have Grisham if they don't trade him too. So, but like I said, he was number 24. I mean, he was number 4 in 2024. So,
and was he invited to spring?
Pereira?
Yeah.
I think so.
Because I'm looking at.
Well, I don't know if he might be on the 40 man already.
He might be then.
I have to go back and look. If he's on the 40 man, then he's not part of that non-roster. Because like Spencer Jones is not on the 40, but he was a non-roster invitee coming to spring training.
I don't see Pereira's name on the list.
Oh yeah, he's on the 40. He's on the 40.
But he's on the 40. Yeah, he should be on the 40.
Okay.
So that's why he's on the he's not on the non-roster list. But like another guy, number 24, Xavier Marte, an outfield prospect, also from the Florida Coast League. So he's 21 years old from the DR. Is a starting pitcher.
Right-handed pitcher, yeah.
Right-handed pitcher. 4-0, 276 ERA, 44 Ks, and 49 innings pitched. So a small sample size, but more pitching depth for the Yankees, right?
Yep.
And then you get Kyle Carr, another left-handed pitcher. High A, Hudson Valley, he's 22 years old. His sets are a little deceptive, 1 and 8 with a 476, but he's got 95 Ks and about 102 innings pitched, so decent there too. But another lefty arm to add to the bullpen. So, and I'm actually surprised because one of the guys that I mentioned on your stream the other day, Ben Shields, not even in the top 30, which is crazy. Yeah. He's got some serious stat profile on the lefty side, so I'm actually surprised, but I still think he's a guy I'm going to keep my eye out for in spring training.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that I'm kind of high on that aren't on this list. Even I'm looking at it like Zach Messenger is not on this list. I think he could be a possible sleeper. We could talk more about him in a second. But the 22 and 21 are interesting. Cade Smith, good slider, decent fastball. A guy like Clayton Beater, I think is probably going to be on the team opening day. Tops out at 96, 97. Yankees are very high on him. Decent slider. Shoulder issues could be a concern considering that, he's a little bit of an older prospect sitting at around 26. Yeah. But you got to keep in mind, we got him in that Joey Gallo trade. So,
that was a steal.
Could he be a swing man maybe?
I could see him as long relief, to be honest with you, because especially if you lose Stroman, Nestor Cortez is gone, they're going to give him a good shot. And I think he's going to definitely start off as long relief, maybe spot starter.
He's one of these he's a big dude for a right-handed pitcher too. The Yankees like their big righties. So they definitely do.
But 96, 97 is nothing to scoff at. That's decent.
Yeah.
So
he's got a different type of delivery too on the mound. I mean, it's very different from all the other pitchers that you've seen.
Yeah.
With Clayton Beater. That's why I like Clayton Beater. That was an awesome trade at that time.
It was.
I don't know how Brian Cashman pulled that off, but he did. But, then again, with the Dodgers system, they do a good job of developing players. So it's like, but Clayton Beater was a good one to get.
Yeah.
So
it's also a name that Aaron Boone kind of already pointed out after Clay Holmes left, Aaron Boone said that he thinks Clayton Beater could be a big part of this team. So it's another name to everyone to watch out for. If he stays healthy, that like Ace said, he has to stay healthy, man. It seems like last year he got hurt a little bit, but we saw a little bit of him last season, and I like the stuff I saw. So just another name to watch out for this year is Clayton Beater.
Yeah, it could be another any valuable weapon to add to the bullpen, just whatever capacity is a good thing for the Yankees. The Yankees are deep in the bullpen; they're deeper in the starting rotation too, so they can afford to move Stroman, and maybe they'll move him for a lefty relief arm, as far as we know. I don't know. So we're going back to after we got number 20, got Francisco Velorio, who's an outfielder. He's in rookie ball, 18 years old. Yeah, young kids here. 140,
no.
196 batting average, not flashy, 4 homers, 19 ribbies, and 858 OPS. 858 OPS was kind of eye-opening for me. And again, a lot of these young kids are developmental, so they need to continue to take these steps up as they move into the system. And something I find noticeable too is, I don't know if you guys noticed it too, but like a lot of these guys that are drafted or assigned from the Dominican Republic to go right to the Florida Coast League, they're staying in the warm climates. They're not having to adapt to come over to the East Coast. That's where I see a lot of a little bit of adjustment period needs to take place when they come over from the warm climate to the cold climate, and then they're not used to the East Coast playing in the cold weather. So I think that that's definitely a good adjustment period for these folks to have. So I'm looking forward to seeing like Roderick Arias come over to the East Coast and seeing how well he can do and how well he can adjust. And some of these other guys, Henry Lalani, we'll get to these guys too.
Yeah.
I think that's an important part of the developmental process too.
I'm really excited about Arias, man.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about him.
Yeah.
I got some thoughts on Arias when we get to that. He's a little bit higher on the list, but we'll get to that.
Well, look at that. Their top number at number 19, Manny Cedeno, who's their top international. He's projected as a 5-tool player. So he was the top international signing this year, a week ago. And again, projects the 5-tool guy. He's a young player. Was he 16? So
he's like 16, 17. It's crazy.
Yeah, and
he's insane, man. I at 16, man, I was trash at baseball, man. Like I can't believe some. Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, I might pull a hammy if I go to first base, but I mean, I can't imagine. Some of these kids are just incredible talent, man. 16 years old and top 20 in someone's like prospects, like that's just insane, man.
Unbelievable. I mean, really, and people call him the young Carlos Correa. So that's like that's pretty intense comparison. So that's a pretty intense one, man. But like right above him is Yorbit Vivas at the 18th spot. He's 23 years old. Got him in the trade with the Dodgers, with the relief pitcher. I forgot. I'm drawing a blank.
Victor Gonzalez,
who signed with the Angels yesterday.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
God, he sucked.
Yeah.
Man, he was pulling my hair out, man.
Well, they traded Trey Sweeney to the Dodgers for these guys, and then now he's with the Tigers. So Sweeney, because he went to the Tigers.
Jack Flaherty.
Yeah. Who's back?
I did like Trey Sweeney.
Yeah, I remember him.
But Yorbit, though, a lot of us are high on him. Obviously, he came up earlier in the year. You know what I'm saying? He touched grass, I should say, in the pros. That's about it. He didn't really touch dirt. But a versatile infielder, you know what I'm saying, doesn't strike out a lot. He's a guy that the average needs to work on that, needs to work on more hitting for average. But right now, I could definitely see him as a depth piece. Maybe if Peraza ends up, performing well in spring training, you sell high on him, and then you bring Yorbit Vivas up as a depth piece. I'd be all for that.
Could be a good one on the bench because he can play multiple positions.
Mm-hmm.
The infield, and he averages about 20, 25 steals per year, so he has that skill set that the Yankees have been missing for years, right? The speed element. So, and they've got quite a few guys who can attack that now. Dominguez and Jazz and Volpi and some of these, and Cody Bellinger. So they can have the makings of a nice, little group of Steelers there, which is fantastic.
We saw him a little bit in spring last season too. He hit a home run in spring. I remember that. I was like, oh, okay.
He's got a nice.
He looked good. He looks good. Yeah.
Yeah,
adds another lefty bat too to the lineup as well. I would definitely be all for fast tracking him up here, giving him a shot. But like I said, just it really depends on, he might be blocked out as of right now. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. We might not see him until we actually move Peraza. I don't want to move Cabrera, but we'll figure. Or maybe I don't think DJ LeMahieu's getting DFA'd this year, but he's blocked out as of right now.
Yeah. And this guy's been consistent with the OBP, on base percentage, right around 380 as he moves up the systems. And that's pretty good on base percentage. If you're close to 400, that's a pretty good on base percentage to have, especially as you keep progressing upwards. So I'd say I like that stat. 17, Edglin Perez, another catcher from the Florida Coast League Yankees, 18 years old, 283 batting average, and another 824 OPS. Another guy over 800 with the OPS. So the Yankees definitely have a good stable of catchers. I don't know if you guys agree.
They love loading up on catchers. It seems like every single camp, we have a bunch of catchers.
I mean, who's important? The question is who's gonna. I mean, I know we're talking about prospects here, but who's gonna be the backup catcher to Austin Wells? I mean, it's that's the question I've been wondering, because they have 3 non-roster invitees to spring training, but I know they got a couple of guys on the 40-man. So,
who's the last catcher we just picked up in that last trade? Defense. I think we need to go defensively, to be honest with you.
Alex Jackson is the guy.
Yeah. Whoever, decent defensive catcher. Whoever. This is why I was all for like possibly bringing in like an Austin Hedges earlier, when he was available via free agency, because like we need a defensive catcher off the bench. Austin Wells should be our everyday catcher. He doesn't need to be challenged by anybody. Give him the job right away. He's a notoriously slow starter. Just give him the job. Let him go out there. Hope he can rake for us. And then we need a late inning, defensive-minded catcher to kind of bring in certain situations.
Is anybody out there in free agency that fits that mold?
Ken keeps pointing out McCann. Yeah.
A lot of people, I saw somebody talk about Scar. People are high on him.
JC Escara. Yeah, he's another one too.
The defensive catcher, though, like that was Trevino, but the only thing he couldn't do was throw anybody out.
Yeah.
So whoever it is, just please throw out these guys trying to steal second base. That's all I care about. If you're going to be the backup, just at least have a nice rocket arm to second base.
Especially since
Lord.
Yeah, we got a lot of dudes that throw close to 100 now, so the ball's going to get to you quicker. So let's throw out some dudes.
I was going to say, David Cohen brought up Grandal. He's actually a free agent. Yasmani Grandal.
Another one.
Yeah.
So he'd be a veteran.
Yeah.
A lot of folks want us to trade for Christian Vasquez from the Twins.
The ex-Red Sox. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. He can call a game.
But he can actually move too. He can still a base or two. I've seen Vasquez steal too, so
yeah,
I have heard that too. His name getting brought up lately.
He's making about 10 bills this year, so I don't know if the high. So that's a lot for a backup catcher.
Yeah. As far as what Graham is saying, Escar has a bat. I mean, yeah, that'll help, but you need that. But Austin Wells is going to be our everyday catcher. It's as simple as that. Like, that's why you need that defensive guy to come in and towards the 8th, 9th inning, if Wells needs to be pinch run for, which he can run the bases, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, it takes us to 16. Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, another right-handed pitcher, who they got in the trade as well, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken. He's playing High A, Hudson Valley. He was 5-5 with a 2.91 ERA, 102 Ks and 89 innings pitched. So another guy that averages more than a K in inning pitched. So not a bad piece there. Carlos Lagrange. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name.
Yeah, you are.
It's a right-handed pitcher, number 15. He's 21 years old, 1-1 in 9 games. Not a big sample size. 27 Ks and 21 innings pitched. And then another right-handed pitcher, Cam Schlittler. This guy's highly regarded in the system. He's recognized as one of the better names, the better arms, I should say, in the Yankees system. He was in 25 games. He was 8-8, 3.36 ERA, 120 innings pitched, but he had 154 Ks. 120. So
he's a non-roster invitee.
Yeah, he can mow some people down. So, I mean, some of these guys, like Spencer Jones, he has to be put on the 40 next year to be protected from the Rule 5 draft. So some of these other guys will be put on the 40. But we're in the top. It's the 14.
With Lagrange, hold on real quick. With Lagrange, he's 6'7", I think. He's a tall guy.
He's a big boy.
He's a big boy. Yeah. And like, you get Matt Blake working with some of these dudes, I think he can do some things with them if they get to that level. So Matt Blake has a knack for making pitchers better. which I hope he gets an opportunity to do that. But like, yeah, he's one of the big boys. He's got a lot of big boys. Like
Same with Brock Selvage. He's
Selvage.
another one.
Yeah, Lenny's like 6'7", 6'8". He's a big dude too. So, but that takes us to 13. Gage Zeal, who's a right-handed pitcher from the Florida Coastal Yankees too. Another 21-year-old pitcher. He was a 4th-round pick of this past draft as well. So he hasn't gotten any pro stats yet. And then you got Thatcher Hurd, another right-handed pitcher, number 12. He's 22. He's been assigned to the Florida Coast League, so he doesn't have any stats either. So we'll get a sample size of some of these guys this year and see how well they translate from college. And I don't really know how. What would you say college is? I mean, translates to low A, something like that.
Depends on the player. I mean, we saw. I mean, Dylan Cruz was a high college player. They got him, scouted high. I think depends on the player. I mean, we all see Paul Skeens. The guy was just a generational talent. We can't really put him in the mix because guy's just a flat out machine. Jack Kaggs from Florida could be another big time player. I think it just depends on the talent, man.
All the teams you're mentioning are SEC teams.
Yeah. And I was about to say, I think the school matters as well.
Yeah, I think
that have really good programs.
I think it's like the premier conference in baseball, like it is in football. And we've got a couple SEC pitchers coming up on this list, so that I think are going to project really high.
Wyatt Langford, that guy was a beast.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So some of these guys, they're ready right when they jump out of college. But like you said, it might be the school. Like Ace said, it might be the conference. So
yeah, it's true.
Wyatt Langford looked good though. I was like, dang, he's a good player.
Yeah. Number 11, we got Brock Selvage. He's been around for a little bit. 22-year-old left-handed pitcher, one of our highly regarded lefties. He's in Double-A already. He was a 3rd-round pick in 2021. 7-6 with a 4.25, 83 Ks and like 82 innings pitched. So
I like him, but I think he'll end up being like trade bait in my opinion. Very deceptive mechanics, hides the ball well. And you need that at the big league level, especially when you're a tall guy. You throw a lot closer to the plate when you're a taller guy. But very deceptive mechanics could be good at this level. But honestly, with some of the prospects that we have and some of the guys that we already have at the major league level, maybe he might be trade bait.
Yeah, I would agree. And I know our boy Mazza from Fort Train he's in every one of Mazza's trades.
Yeah, got that right. My goodness.
Yeah, but why not so high on some of these guys?
Yeah.
We have a lot of pitching prospects. So while they're at the highest, because the thing is with the Yankees, we all know we tend to prospect hug too much. So
yeah. Well, speaking of prospects, I mean, our next one, number 10, Rafael Flores. Now, this guy, drawn comparison to Ben Rice because he's a catcher and first baseman, but he's also got some serious power numbers as well. He's 24 years old, batting .279, 21 homers and 68 ribbies this year. And he's got an 874 OPS. So this dude has an exit velocity of Spencer Jones levels.
That's some power, yeah.
He punishes the baseball. So if anybody who could, work his way up the system, I think he could be one of them. He could be a eventual backup catcher or platoon catcher at Austin Wells in 2026 maybe, or maybe an option for DH or first base in a couple years too. So he's a guy I would keep an eye out for.
Especially if he goes out and balls out in spring. And just turn some heads. Like that could be, like you said, could be a name.
Yeah, he's one definitely one guy we'll look out for. But now we're in the top 10. I mean, Henry Lalani's number 9. I mean, this is one of.
I'm shocked that he wasn't invited.
Yeah, me too.
I'm shocked.
He had some injury issues. I know he finally got on the mound late in the season last year, so maybe they want him to develop a little bit more.
Yeah,
but he's only 20 years old. He's still young.
He's highly touted. His name has been mentioned so much in 2024. So,
the big unit.
He gets a lot of comparisons to Unit. Get a lot of comparisons to CC. He's a big, 6'8" lefty. I think he needs to fill out a little bit more in his body because he's about 6'8", but he's only about 210 his weight.
Dang.
So he adds some size, he'll add some velocity to his fastball and his arsenal. So I think it can only help him. But he's in single A now, but he's usually only 1 and 2 with 13 Ks and 12 innings pitched. So not much of a sample size, because I knew he did have some injuries. So, but I do think if he fills out, he's a guy to look out for. What do you guys think? Anybody? You guys agree with that?
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I like Lane. Like I said, I wish he was invited so we could see more of him. But
yeah,
another lefty that could be somebody in this farm. So
yeah, I'd love to see him. But number 8, we got Will Warren. So he's been a highly regarded, pitcher in the Yankee system. He had a rough transition to the majors last year, but I'm not sure if he was ready. But I'd rather him have that ass kicking that he took last year. Because he was, just give an example. He had a 10.32 ERA. He was 0-3. But he also had 29 strikeouts and 21 innings pitched. So a decent little profile in terms of getting Ks, but he was 25-18 in the minors, 367 innings pitched and 410 Ks. So he does have a lot of arsenal. He's got some good pitch arsenal. So if he works with Matt Blake a little bit more, can put it together, I could see him being a back end of the rotation guy.
That's what I was
Warren. I was just gonna say Warren. I think that game that he pitched against the Phillies, he started out like rough, and that was his Major League Baseball debut because Cole was hurt, right? And from what I remember, he started out rough, but then he turned it around, and I was like, okay, there is some potential to this guy, but he still needs developing. So I think he got called up out of nowhere. I mean, he rose to the occasion. I mean, great, but you could tell that there was still work that needs to be done with him because he was he was getting beat up badly in a couple of those games. So
I like that he can
look at young Ken. Look at young Ken right there in the picture.
Look at that, dude. Look at that, man. Young Billy Bob Thornton look going on there.
Hey, save some ladies for the rest of us, Ken. Come on. But back to Will Warren though. A prospect a lot of people were very high on. I'm not gonna say that I don't believe in him. I just, like NFE was saying, I don't think he was ready. He was thrust into some terrible positions, like obviously going against the Phillies, was tough. They're a good team, but it did seem like he only had one inning where they put up a crooked number on him, and then he would maybe settle down. But that's a guy that I don't think you can bring out of the bullpen either. He needs to either be a spot starter, long relief, because if he's coming out of the bullpen and giving up runs immediately, that the game might be over by then. He might be a guy that needs to find it and settle down. But I would love to see what Matt Blake could do with him. But like I said, maybe down the road, spot starter, long relief.
They were saying he was major league ready for last year. That's what folks were saying. And I know we all know he was competing for that spot against Luis Hill. And I remember when Luis Hill won that spot, so many people were pissed. One person in particular.
I know who you're talking about.
Well, you know who I'm talking about there. So they were pissed.
Say
he
the
was
name.
pissed off.
Just kidding.
I mean, hey,
I'll say L.I. Yankee King is really high on Will Warren, saying that during spring training, hell no, Luis Hill shouldn't start. It should be Will Warren, and Luis Hill, Rookie of the Year.
Boom.
Will Warren's, he's 25 though, so he better start figuring it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
he's got the potential, but he's got the potential. His delivery, I like his delivery on the mound. It's there. He just needs a little bit more development, I think.
Would you guys trade high on him though? If he came out and had a decent, if he had a decent spring training, would you trade high?
Yeah, because
who we're getting back, sure.
Yeah, and because I think the guy above him has a better ceiling as Chase.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yes.
Too. So number 7 on the list, he was a 6th-round pick out of Texas Tech. This guy is known to have the best fastball arsenal in the whole entire system. So he's a power pitcher. He's drawn comparisons to Garrett Cole and some of these other big guys. So he's a fiery pitcher, and he's already said 2 days ago that he's ready to go. He's healthy. He's ready to go. He had some injuries last year, flexor tendon sprain, and he had a groin problem. So he's feeling good and he's ready to go. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. This guy's got a bulldog in him.
Same. I think he needs a little more, like you said, power fastball, but I think he needs a little more development. I wouldn't rush him up.
No.
If you think he's going to be that, especially with the difference in innings in Major League Baseball, you don't rush him up. Like, let him take his time. Maybe you bring him up here for September call-ups and then go from there. Like, I could definitely see him coming up for September call-ups this year.
Yeah, and the short sample size, 160 Ks and 120 innings pitched. So that's a nice little sample size. So, you could definitely get some dudes out. So, and he's another guy throws 96, 97, 98 with regularity. So that's a good thing, too. But now, I mean, the top 5, the cream of the crop here. I mean, Bryce Cunningham, number 5. Is our second round pick last year out of Vanderbilt. SEC boy, big right-handed pitcher, right? And again, this SEC conference, I think, is probably the closest conference in college to pro ball. And like you mentioned, Florida and LSU, like all the big dogs come out of the SEC conference.
Vanderbilt's another, like, where Cunningham and Spencer Jones. That's another. Not in football, even though they did pretty good in football this year, but that's the baseball school, Vanderbilt. So
Yankees love their Vanderbilt boys. So
and we'll just get right to Spencer Jones too in Vanderbilt. I mean, he's not as polished as Aaron Judge, but I also think being a converted pitcher in Vanderbilt, to a hitter, whereas Judge has been a lifetime hitter, he's developmentally a little bit behind Aaron Judge, but I think his ceiling is, almost as high. I mean, this guy's got a freak athlete. He's got Aaron Judge power with Ellie De La Cruz speed. That to me is like a freak thing. Vanderbilt boy, 23 years old. Yeah, if he's clearly got to cut down on his Ks, which will help him improve his contact rate. But if he does that, gets under 30%, that's going to change the ball game for him. Because even with that, he had 17 home runs last year, 78 ribbies, 25 steals, 788 OPS. So, with all those strikeouts, he still put up those numbers. And this guy, I mean, he hits balls over buildings. He hits light over home runs. And you saw what he did in the spring training. And then he made these modifications with his hands, and that's when I think it started to create problems for him. And then they brought it back to where he was originally at, and he started hitting better. And I've seen footage of him in the cage a couple of weeks ago that he's changed. He's got more of a Judge-esque loading phase now. So
I saw that too.
Yeah, and he's murdering the ball now. So hopefully that translates well to spring training. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him. And then when Bryce Cunningham gets an opportunity, I'm looking forward to seeing him too. So Vanderbilt 6-5, same school.
I'm shocked that Jones is 6 on this list, though. I was like, what? When I was looking at it, I was like,
I think that might be a little more kudos to the other guys that are up there because like Lombard Jr. Arias are kind of high, but Spencer Jones, like a lot of pressure on him. It's going to be a lot of pressure on him out the gate. There's a guy that a lot of people say, they wouldn't mind trading if, the right people were brought in. Me personally, I've said, if you're going to bring it, if you were to sign this guy like Soto, if you were to bring in Kyle Tucker, I'd entertain it, but I'm not giving away for nothing. But he's a solid outfielder that could be put in center field once you move Judge full-time to DH or maybe even first base, and you have a very young, controllable outfield. But it's going to be a lot of pressure on Spencer Jones. He's going to have to, like you said, Jason, he's got to get that K rate down. That's the biggest thing for me.
I think mechanically he just needs to keep progressing. And if he does, I'm very much looking forward. And I hope he gets an opportunity to start in AAA. I mean, the jump from AA to AAA is not the same thing as a jump from AA to the majors. It's a huge jump from AAA to the majors. So you get from AA to AAA, then you're in a good spot. And like Dominguez forces his way into AAA, and then he forces his way into the majors. I hope Spencer Jones can do the same thing. And again, he's also freakishly big. Like Aaron Jones, he's 6'8", right? From the lefty, and he's like a mutant. So it's like, how do you deal with that? So,
that's insane. And the way he moves is like, that's not normal, man.
Yeah. It's like
you guys see him as center field or left field?
I see him in center field.
Same.
Yeah.
But I do think Dominguez will be probably best positioned right now in center field, because he'd be protected by 2 elite gloves on either side of the infield, which would give him an opportunity to just make mistakes and adjust and still be protected so he can continue to develop. So, but they must feel confident in him to start him in left. But I have a feeling they're going to rotate him and Bellinger around the outfield because Bellinger's an elite glove, just like Judge. So, what do you guys think about that? Before we go any further,
I wanted Dominguez in center. But if that's what they want, if they want him in left, then I definitely could see Spencer Jones as a center fielder whenever the time comes when Judge, just to prolong his career, can't be out there every single day anymore. Like it would look nice to have Spencer Jones and Dominguez out there in the outfield, but I hope that Dominguez can really take on that left field spot. If that's where they want him to be and that's what they already said, I personally would want him in center, but I hope he can take on that left field spot, which I think he will. I think he can. If he dedicated his craft to left field and he really put the time and work into it, and he's so young, he can definitely do it. That's a nice little outfield out there with Spencer Jones in center field and Dominguez in left. I mean, that's gonna be nice.
Sign me up for that. I mean, I would do it. And he's been working in the cage, hitting from his right-handed side too, where he's kind of behind his left-handed side. So he's been working a lot on the righty side this offseason too. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do here. And we'll get to him in a minute. He's not, he's still on the list. But after Bryce Cunningham, another SEC boy, Ben Hess. Our number one draft pick from last year was at the University of Arkansas, right? Razorback?
Alabama,
that's right. Sorry, it's Crimson Tide. Another big boy. Yeah, SEC. Another big right-handed arm in the SEC. Power. So the Yankees were drafting a lot of these guys last year. So 2 big SEC boys, right? One after the other, 5 and 4.
They went heavy with pitching this past draft.
17.
They drafted a lot of pitchers.
Oh, actually, 18 out of 20. One of them was high school, and 17 were college. The pitchers, which is, I'm not surprised. They needed to stockpile some pitching, because they traded away so many of them recently.
Yeah. So,
I'm not very high on Hess. For a guy as big as he is, the fastball's okay. 93 to 96, tops out at that. For a guy that big, I would like to see it top out around 98-ish. But, we'll see what happens. Maybe he can develop something, maybe get a little spin rate on it, and we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see if the MBE works out, the Matt Blake effect. So, I mean, I hope it translates downward in the farm, too, so they can continue. So they don't have to wait until they get to the majors just to start working with Matt Blake. Hopes that some disciples are, downward of the system. That's one of the things where I think Matt Blake had an advantage over Dylan Lawson and some of these other coaches, because the Dylan Lawson effect didn't really translate the way at the majors the way it did in the minors. So whereas Matt Blake, it kind of does. So I do think, even though hitting is different than pitching, but I do like the way that the pitchers are developing in the minors right now. So
Ben Hess, he's 6'5" and 255. I'm like, damn.
Dude's got some size. That's a tight end right there.
For real.
Straight up tight end. In Alabama, I mean, no shortage of tight ends, man. You get Nick Saban over there. Yeah. Dude, man, get him out of retirement. Get him Ben Hess, man. Shoot. But it takes us to the tripod. Number 3, Roderick Arias, right? Shortstop, number 1 international, signed in a couple years ago. He is, what is he? He's 18 years old. No, is he 18? No, he's 20 right now. He's, again, versatile hitter. He's a switch hitter, just like Dominguez is. So that's another part of his appeal. He's one of our 2 top switch hitters in the farm. And now he struggled up early, but he's displayed quite a bit of his skill set too. I mean, 233 average, 13 home runs, and 74 ribbies this year, but 37 steals and 728 OPS. Like, that steal, again, like, these guys are stealing bags like crazy in the farm. So they have speed and athleticism, and I think this is a weapon that the Yankees have not deployed a lot over the last couple of years, which if they keep developing that, they could be a dangerous team like the Rays and some of these other aggressive teams. What's you guys take on Arias?
I think he's a top-tier defender. Really good. Like you said, versatile hitter. Love the switch hitting aspect. He's a guy that has a lot of potential, but what are the Yankees really going to do with this, especially with George Lombard Jr. and Volpi at shortstop? My biggest fear is that they prospect hug him because he might not have a spot up here. You're going to have to decide with these 2 guys, whether it's George Lombard Jr. or Roderick Arias, what to do with them if you're going to keep Volpi at shortstop. They need to start working at either third or second base, in my opinion. But for a guy like Arias, like I said, that switch hitting factor is great. His defense is really good. He looks like a major league ball player along with George Lombard Jr. So I think both of these 2 prospects are studs. If you told me one had to go, I would probably say Arias. I would be more inclined to trade Arias, but figure out what you're going to do with this infield, because a future infield of Volpi, Lombard Jr., and Arias, if they're in the right positions, would be nice.
Would you think Arias would be better suited at second and Lombard at third?
I think the inverse. I think Lombard Jr. at second, because I've seen his range. Like, I've seen him make plays deep in the hole, very much like Jeter. Lombard Jr., to me, looks like a ball player, and he looks like a Yankee. That range would be better displayed at second rather than third because, obviously the balls are hitting you faster at third base. It's more of a reactionary position. I want the most athletic person, who I think is Lombard Jr. on this list. I think he'd be better served to be at second base. Unpopular opinion, a lot of people actually say this. I wouldn't mind moving Volpe to second and having Lombard Jr. at shortstop.
In the future?
Because he's got an arm. He's got a better arm, I think.
Could you guys see a scenario? Because I know Volpe, it's very mixed fan reaction about Anthony Volpe. Could you see a scenario where Arias and Lombard are both playing on the same team and Volpe may not be on the Yankees in the future? I'm not talking about right now, but down the line, depending on how things play out. Is that a possibility?
I think these two guys put pressure on Volpe.
Right. Because
like this
Volpe,
yeah.
Go ahead.
With the situation that we have with George Lombard Jr. and Roger Arias is very much like what we had with Peraza and Volpe. You have two good young players. One of them is going to get the job if they're going to be stuck at a certain position. Also, keep in mind, we have Jazz under control for a couple more years. So, for a couple more years. So, one of these guys is going to have to transition over to third base. They're both very athletic. In my opinion, like I said, I would put George Lombard Jr. Second, Arias to third, maybe switch him over, but they're definitely going to put pressure on Anthony Volpe. And we know how the fan base is. The fan base, if Volpe struggles year 3, they're going to start turning on him and be like, bring up these guys. But
does Arias have a good arm from third base?
I think so. I think so.
Could you see a scenario where all three are on the team? Yeah, because like you said too, Jazz is 2 years, right? And then whoever they get at third might have 2 years or 3 years, and that's right around the time when these guys are going to be ready for the majors anyway. So you could see both of them up at second and third, and Volpe at short, and have all three of them in the infield.
If that was the case, like I said, I would be more prone to moving Volpe to the second and have Lombard Jr. play short. I think he's got more range. Like I said, he's versatile, but Lombard Jr. out of the three, I think is the most athletic, and I'm including Volpe in that list as well. I think he's the most athletic.
What about you guys, Max, Hannafy? What do you guys think?
Ace ain't wrong. So Ace ain't wrong. I mean, Lombard, you hear a lot about Lombard. I mean, he's an untouchable, right? So I mean, I know that the Yankees are, there's a lot of high regard when it comes to Lombard Jr. And I'm sure when the Yankees are talking with other teams, I'm sure other teams ask for Lombard Jr. and the Yankees are like, no way. It's the same thing with Spencer Jones. So I think these two guys could play. I think they'll be players in the future for the Yankees. I think they'll make the major league roster for the Yankees in their near future. Arias, I mean, he's a guy that could get traded, but at the same time, I could see him and Lombard playing together. I mean, that's a strong possibility if you're, especially with those two guys. I mean, and like Ace said, you're putting pressure on Volpe. That might put pressure on Volpe. So depending on how things play out with Volpe. Because year 3 is going to be very crucial for Anthony Volpe.
Yeah,
I think.
What's your take, Max? Any thoughts on it?
I'm with him. I feel like there is a possibility all three of these guys could be on the same team. If Volpe actually goes out there and balls out on year 3 and, shows us what I believe in Volpe, and that's a high potential, and, like Jazz is here for 2 years. That could be it, so I would be okay with moving Volpe to second base at that spot and then load up the left side of the infield with Lombard and Arias. That would be, just imagine how athletically gifted that infield would be with all three of those guys out there. Volpe's already won a Gold Glove in his rookie campaign, but the speed all over the infield essentially for all three of those guys. Even if Jazz is still here, maybe he'll play outfield somewhere. I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen years down the line, but that'd be a nice little infield, man. But like everyone alluded to, this is a very important year for Volpe. If he goes out there and kind of lays an egg, and now 3 years in the majors, and you're still hitting a 680 OPS, like that's a problem in my opinion. Like that, it may be you might not be the long term here. If that, he's still young, he can still figure it out. But 3 years up in the majors, and you're hitting 680. OPS, come on. So I think Volpe's going to be in line for a huge year. Not huge year, but like a really good breakout year. I would say like My main thing with Volpe is get on base, draw more walks, raise up that on base percentage. And if he gives us like a 760 OPS, I'll take that for Volpe on year 3. Hopefully it's more. Hopefully it's 800 plus. But
Yeah.
My thing with, go ahead, Ace.
Yeah, I'm gonna add on to what Max. I agree with everything Max said. I would also add on to he needs to start going right field more.
Mm-hmm.
Start, especially because we saw the home run numbers die down a little bit. You go into right field, becoming more of a push type hitter, especially in Yankee Stadium. Those balls can get out a lot more going to right field. Get on base, wreak havoc there. But a future infield of George Lombard Jr., Roderick Arias, and Anthony Volpe also is very affordable. Because think of they're all going to be on cheap contracts. So therefore you can maybe afford to splurge a little bit on a Kyle Tucker. You know what I'm saying? But then also at the same time too, if you're going to have an infield that young, because we've seen Volpe have his mishandles throwing the ball, you need a good first baseman. So that tends to save that young infield. So very athletic, very affordable, but you're going to need a solid first baseman. By the time they come up, could Judge be playing first already? I don't know. We'll see.
I have a question for you guys too. When he was healthy and productive, did any of you ever envision Peraza at short and moving Volpe to second? Because I did.
Yeah.
I prefer Peraza over at short over Volpe. I mean, even when they brought Volpe up in 2023, I was still preferring Peraza over Volpe. I mean,
elite with the glove.
He's just he's an elite glove. We all know that. Defensively, he's fantastic. But we were being sold on this whole thing with Volpe being, what were they? We all know what they were comparing him to, right? I wasn't sold on it because I'm like, well, we got to see what this guy's like. Let's tread slowly here, because because you know how it is with rookies, Yankee rookies, and being a Yankees prospect is tough. That's the other thing. And when I had Homer Bush, he even said the same thing. He's like, being a Yankees prospect is a tough thing to be. And if he knows what he's talking about. But with Volpe, he struggled in that first year, and Yankees fans were already like, send him back down. He's not ready. He stinks. He's a fluke. Trade him. Second year, like 2024, he was better. But there was definitely still areas where he absolutely needed to improve. And again, some folks were asking to maybe, give him an extension like the Royals did with Bobby Wood Jr. But I'm like, no way, man. Let's pump the brakes, because I wasn't comfortable with it. And I can't speak for you guys, but I know some fans were saying they should extend Volpe. I wasn't on that train personally, but
the only reason we would extend him. Go ahead, Max. Go ahead.
His first year he missed. I mean, he didn't play in AAA, so I kind of gave him a pass. His development was up here, and he got better last season with batting average, but the power numbers went down, the slugging went down. That's why this year is so important. Like, he's shown us, okay, he can slug. His rookie year, he can defend. We all know the range is great with Volpe. His batting average got better, but we need to get. I want to see the on base. I want to see him drawing more walks, staying more patient at the plate, wreaking havoc, stealing bases. Like, give me 35 stolen bases. Like that's what I want to see from Volpe. But the extension, I don't know about that either. That was more of like, I mean, honestly, bro, if we had a guy like Bobby Witt Jr., hell yeah, you extend him.
Oh, no question.
After a year or 2 years of seeing that, because you see how crazy his contracts are. They did the same thing with Acuna. The Braves locked down Acuna before. And that was a brilliant contract, even though he's dealt with injuries. But the guy is just unreal, and he's on a discount if you look at his contract now. And it makes sense for Witt too as well, because he's going to be a free agent when he's 30, so he's still going to get that big payday no matter what. So, but yeah, with you or NFE, I'm with you. I don't think I would have extended him from what I saw his rookie year.
Yeah, no. I'm looking at Volpe's Fangraph stats. Well, like at least what they're projecting for 2025. So they're saying his on-base percentage and his slugging, they're projecting for that to go up, and his batting average is going to go down by like 2 points. So
241.
241, yeah. And then his OBP is going to be 309, where in 2024 is 293, and then his slugging is going to be 399 as opposed to 364. And his WRC plus is going to go up to 101. Again, these are projections.
Yeah.
This is what Fangraphs is saying. So, I mean, it's a little bit of progress. It's a little bit of a drop in his batting average, but I think his batting average, I think he could improve on that.
Yeah. I think Volpe he's consistently inconsistent. He's very streaky. We see him, he can get hot. We saw, 21 game hitting streak, but he could also get cold. What I'm curious to see is if he takes that next step after his playoff performance, because he did have a good postseason. That was a huge hit with that grand slam. That's the highest of high levels that you're just performed at. So it needs to translate over to the regular season. I agree with what you guys are saying. I wouldn't have extended him, but I understand the motto that the Atlanta Braves do where, extend them early so you're not overpaying for them when they outdo their contracts and stuff like that because it's more cost efficient. But as far as this is going to be the year that I'm not saying that he has to be an all-star because we have Bobby Witt Jr. and Gunnar Henderson are better than him in the AL, but you have to at least be consistent. I want to see that OPS get up. I want to see the steals get up more. A lot of that last year was also on them just not sending him. I don't know if they weren't sending him or if he wasn't getting good reads, but he was on base a lot. And a lot of the times they didn't want him to run into outs with Soto and Judge coming up. But that's why him being at the bottom of the order, wreak havoc on the base paths. Do what you got to do. But we could have, like I said, we could have a little nasty trio with George Lombard Jr., Arias, and Volpe in a couple of years. If they decide to keep all three of them, and if Volpe takes that next step, we might have a good infield.
Let me ask you guys a two-part question here because that's a good point. Where do you think he should bat in the lineup? First of all, because I don't think they've solidified the right spot in the lineup. And do you think the next bat they bring in is going to determine where he bats in the lineup? Because let's just say they bring in Arias. Well, Volpe's not leading off.
Yeah.
On their bottom, right? If they bring in somebody like a Nico Horner, Volpe might lead off. Or Nico Horner might lead off. So, we just don't know. I think whoever they brings in will help determine where Volpe and even potentially Cody Bellinger bats in the lineup. Because you could bring somebody and bat him at second, move Bellinger to fourth. And sandwich in between Judge and Stanton if you want. We can bat Bellinger at second, lead off somebody. So I really wonder if they have come to, figured out where Volpe's ideal spot in the lineup is. Where do you guys think it would be?
I think 7 to 9 is his best spot because when they were being interviewed the other day and they were talking about leadoff guys, they didn't even mention him. I think he has the leadoff tools if he can get on base more. You know what I'm saying? He's a guy that gets on base, wreak havoc, stuff like that. But I think you get the most value from him 7 to 9. And if you do lead off Jazz or if you lead off Jason Dominguez, which those talks are heating up, you're gonna have Judge at second, and you have Bellinger maybe third, splitting between him and Stanton, stuff like that. But 7 to 9 is where I think his sweet spot is, back to back with Austin Wells, either ahead of him or behind him.
Which makes our 7-8-9 a hell of a lot better than it was last year.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
and
no Verdugo?
The dog.
But speaking, good guy. Next, what are your thoughts, man?
I'm with Ace. I think the bottom of the order, 7th. I think that's where we saw him most. Well, leadoff was the most, but then after they moved him away from leadoff, he was mainly batting 7th, and I think he had the best OPS batting 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're how the Yankees operate. They're all analytical. They're all about the numbers. So I'm sure they're all looking at the numbers and kind of putting where these guys perform the best at. And I think if they're looking at his numbers and saying, okay, well, Volpe flourished more batting 7th. He had, I think, a 316 on base as well, batting 7th, which is not great, but I want more. I want to see 340. We want to see that number, but I would say you got to start him off 7th, and see if hopefully he can get that bottom of the order going, the 7, 8, 9 hole, get that going, and maybe he can lead off some innings and then get on base, and then what I'm saying. But I think wherever he bats, I think it's 7th, A7, the bottom of the order.
He's kind of made it a habit of getting clutch hits in that part of the lineup too, that bottom third of the lineup. So I like that, getting clutch hits.
I think it's less pressure.
Leading
off
it adds depth.
Yeah.
Just imagine, you put Jazz at 6 and Volpe at 7. Dude, those two guys get on base. You have Austin Wells batting 8th. Pitcher makes one mistake. Austin Wells makes it a 3-run ball game.
Yeah.
So if you're putting Jazz at 7th or 6th, you said, right? You said 6th. I mean, they're entertaining him to be a leadoff hitter along with Dominguez. So, I'm not comfortable either one of those guys being leadoff hitters personally. But as of right now, Dominguez maybe, but I if he can show consistency at the major league level, because we haven't really truly seen who he is yet, right? I mean, that's how I feel about Dominguez. Maybe you put Dominguez at the leadoff spot in the second half of the season if he can show that he can hit, consistently. If he can show some consistency at the major league level, because
And I don't think we should deploy that much pressure. Like, there's so much pressure to try to make Dominguez make fans forget about Juan Soto. It's not that easy. Nobody's going to make them forget about Juan Soto that easily unless Dominguez comes out and hit 50 home runs, which would be a crazy feat in itself. But if he comes out and does just continues to take the next step as Jason Dominguez, I'd be happy. And I think he'll eventually work his way to the leadoff spot.
I think he's got it, man. I think the kid is a stud. First swing in the major league level, home run off of future Hall of Famer Justin Verlander. Called that game. Crazy. It went crazy. I wouldn't be opposed. I'm as time is going on, I'm starting to be a little more open-minded to Dominguez leading off because the OPS can get better, especially with Judge protecting him. As long as he's a guy, you know what I'm saying, and he's got that pop, he's got that speed, like you need it for a prototypical leadoff guy. Don't want to rely too much on home runs out that spot, but you definitely want to get him on base. I'm more open-minded as time is going on, either him or Jazz, but either way, like, I like Dominguez either like protecting somebody. Like, ultimately, I think, all right, if Dominguez turns out to be what we think and what the Yankees think he is, I would love him in between Judge and Stanton, because then you got that switch hitter in between them both, and there's no way to pitch around them. What are you going to do? You're going to bring in a lefty, you're going to bring in a righty, and you switch it around with Dominguez. Like,
and he kind of reminds me of Soto, is that they're very good at recognizing pitches, staying within the strike zone, not swinging at really horrendous stuff. So he has that, but he also reminds me of Jazz that he's not fazed by anything. Yeah. Jazz is not fazed by anything.
The only thing with Jazz that ekes me is, especially at the leadoff spot, he's trying to swing for the fences too much.
Yeah.
Jazz has become more of a slap hitter and utilizes the athleticism, sort of Ichiro-like. Like, I think I put him at leadoff, but he swings for the fences too much. That short porch is very close, and it opens your eyes very wide, and we don't need that out the leadoff guy. But the athleticism and speed, definitely.
Yeah, I think a lot of it boils down to who they're going to bring in as this bat. Because let's just say it's Arias, then you can bat Jazz at 4th and Dominguez at 7th or something like that, and you have a much more dynamic length. But you have so many options. Depends on who you bring in. So, and I do think they're bringing another bat. We just don't know who yet. But
Jazz,
Big Daddy Braden Shoemaker today.
That's our new leadoff hitter. We're all talking about the wrong people here. So new third baseman, Braden Shoemaker.
That's right.
Yeah, he's gonna make this lineup great again.
Yep. That's the new. This is the new Stone Cold Steve Austin of the major leagues right now. This is the new stunner. He's gonna be dropping dudes left and right. So
no, some people are calling him out though, for real. Daniel in the chat says Shoemaker was a stud at Texas A&M first round. Yeah.
He's put him in. Now you dealing with you got James Rose in there. He'll bring the best out of some of these people too. So, and again, could be some depth. A lot of people are criticizing a lot of the depth, but like even what's the kid that they brought? Velasquez. They brought him back. Yeah. Dynamic, athletic, right? So, Andrew Velasquez, like some of these guys, Brennan Davis, another guy with some serious power. If he just puts it together, so some of these under the radar moves that people call dumpster diving. But going back to the list, we're at number 2 now. George Lombard Jr., baby. And again, like, I think one of the differentials between him and Roderick Arias, let me know if you guys agree, but he's physically filled out more than Arias. Yes. He's just a bigger dude, and he's displaying a little bit more of the power right now. He's only 19. He's a first-round pick, number 28. At a high school, but he's in A-ball, and he's batting .238 with 5 homers, 51 ribbies, but 43 steals. Like, he's another guy who steals a hell of a lot of bases, like Roderick Arias. So 687 OPS, I think that'll come up. But he's like him and Arias. I think are the two guys that are systematically like getting better throughout the system, which I think is a good skill set to have. Right?
I'm just loving this athleticism. I'm loving how athletic these guys are, man. That's one thing we need. That's one thing the fans have wanted this team to get better at is being athletic, getting better on the, around the bases.
Yeah.
And just like you said, these guys are stealing bases left and right. Like it's awesome, man. And these guys are going to get better. They're young, 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
And sky's the limit for these guys, for real.
Yeah, we're not talking about Steve Balboni here. We're talking about Jones Lombard Jr. So,
especially with the bigger bases too. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna see these guys steal.
Yeah, my goodness.
To me though, George Lombard Jr. stud, untouchable. Anytime anybody picks with the call and it starts with nope, just hang up. I don't want to see it. I honestly think he could be our future shortstop. Like I said, very athletic. He gives me very Carlos Correa comparisons, especially with how he looks and how he swings the bat. I've seen him make great plays at shortstop, especially deep in the hole. Has a very strong arm. I think his arm is better than Volpi's. But if you're going to do that, you gotta start making a change soon. Like maybe start having Volpi take some reps at second, and you know what I'm saying, maybe the next couple of years or so, and then just go from there. But George Lombard Jr., I'm not trading him for nothing because like a young kid takes care of himself. His dad was a pro player, so he knows what it takes to be great. I think we got a stud on our hands in a couple of years.
Does he resemble Mike Trout at all to you with his short, compact swing?
I've heard a lot of comparisons to that.
Yeah, like this.
The quickness of bat to the ball. Yeah. I would agree with that, but based on his batting stance, he reminds me of Carlos Correa.
Correa,
like
right?
A more athletic Correa.
Yeah, I could see that too. What do you guys think?
It's hard to put someone with the Mike Trout. I know his swing, but like Ace said, I think he's more of Correa. This guy's gonna be a beast, dude.
Yeah.
Ace hit it on the nose with he might be an untouchable in this farm unless you're getting someone. I don't even know. Like right now on the trade market, I don't even know who I would give up George Lombard for, honestly.
Scoble? Would you do it for Scoble? Scoble, whatever his name is.
Scoble?
Yeah, I say Scoble. It's just you're contemplating it. I mean, for an elite arm, maybe, but I'm still not. Based on our pitching prospects, I feel like we can package somebody for better, so I feel like George Lombard Jr. There's like two untouchables, Dominguez and Lombard Jr., in my opinion.
I wouldn't do it for Scooble right now. I'll say that because Scooble, like let's just say if they traded Lombard for Scooble right now, he'd be under team control for 2 years and he'd be a free agent in 2027. Maybe if he had more years of control, I might entertain it.
Yeah, that's important. If it's like 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years, I might. You might convince me because
that's why everyone wanted Mason Miller, because Mason Miller has tons of years of control.
Yeah,
but he's a closer.
Would you trade George Lombard Jr. for Mason Miller? Let's say Devin Williams doesn't re-sign with us next year.
Ooh.
I'm worried about the injury with Mason Miller because didn't he already have 2 Tommy Johns?
1.
He had 1. Okay, well,
I give up Arias for him.
I would too. The injury to Mason Miller, wasn't it on his non-throwing hand last year? Didn't he have a non-throwing hand injury? Yeah. So that won't affect him at all. But I think George Lombard Jr. is untouchable. Like I said, I did say this earlier. If we were going to trade one of them, I'd be more open to trading Arias than I would for George Lombard.
I kind of feel like he's blocked by Lombard to a degree, Arias.
Well, that's why I said earlier, you got the Volpi Peraza comparison. Like, you're going to have to decide what you're going to want to do with one of these guys. This is why it's like, as much as I want a real third baseman like Alex Bregman, he's going to block one of these guys. So you have to decide what you're going to do if you're the Yankees. Are you going to go early? I mean, are you going to try to fast track these guys up here in like another year or two? And that's the dilemma that they have, like that's why they get paid the millions of dollars to make these decisions that we don't. So,
yeah, that's a good point. What do you guys think, man? What's your take, Max, on that?
About the trading?
Yeah, I mean, the only person I can think of when they probably hang up on us would be Paul Skeens.
I would
I
do
would
that.
definitely take Paul
He's
Skeens. in a
he's going to be a
heartbeat.
Yankee at
I'd
some
say Paul
point.
Skeens in a
I would
heartbeat.
give up Lombard Jr., Spencer Jones. Take them both. Give me Paul Skeens, man. I know, yeah, it might be a hot take, but I mean, the guy would have years of control. He's probably gonna win Cy Young this year if he stays healthy in the NL. Like, he's already shown us the dude was an all-star starter his first year in the freaking majors. They probably just did that, because of the whole hype up, which I think he should have been the starter. But man, I mean, it just depends. I'm trying to think of the players who I would move Lombard Jr. It would have to be guys with like at least 3 years of control.
Corbin Burns.
I'd probably give up Lombard for Burns. Honestly, I mean, if he's already on a contract, I would get. I mean, I like Burns a lot. I like.
I know
Burns
you.
a lot.
That's why I threw it at you. I know.
So, I would for Burns, but I mean, imagine that rotation: Cole, Burns, and Fried with Heel.
But then you try to flip Clark Schmidt, and you could flip other pieces and stuff like that.
Yeah,
too, so.
trade Clark Schmidt for Brendan Donovan.
What is?
Oh, he mentioned the name. He mentioned Donovan.
I know, I'm on Jason's channel. I know how to bring up Brendan Donovan.
Oh. Yeah, my like with Schmidt, if I'm going to trade him, I want to bat with the equal amount of years of control coming back to us, at least 3 for 3.
Yeah,
Donovan's represents the skill set. I mean, he would look perfect in pinstripes.
Yeah, his bat would be amazing.
How long is Skeens under control for?
He's got 5 more years, 2 years of pre-arb and 3 years of arb.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Okay, so estimated, dude, he's severely underpaid. $800,000 this year is what he's gonna make. And then they determine the pre-arbitration.
And then they're going to trade him in 4 years.
Because they're not going to want to pay him. They're not going to. The Pittsburgh Pirates are cheap. They didn't want to pay Roddy
afford
Tellers.
him.
They couldn't afford Roddy Tellers. They couldn't afford to give him $200,000. They're not going to pay Skeens. That's what I'm saying. He's going to be a Yankee at some point in his career.
They have 2 more years because the salaries don't elevate in pre-arb. They start elevating in arb. So they essentially have 2 more years of Skeens if they played smart, and then they can trade him after that for half the team. So if he plays as well, so. Pre-arb is when the salaries are within that margin. When arb is when they go freaking through the roof. But Skeens, man, oh my God, could you imagine?
Yeah. Get Livy Dunn in a Yankee uniform, Yankee pinstripes.
Now that's worth the trade right there.
We're hanging out with the Wags. Oh my God. Oh God.
You hear about the kid that pulled his 1-of-1 signed card at 11 years old?
Oh,
I don't blame him for not giving it up, though.
Oh, heck no. The Pirates were like, here's 30 years of season tickets behind home plate. Here's 2 autographs.
He doesn't even live there. What is he going to do with that? And then like, Livy Dunn tried to chime in, like, hey, I'll meet you. Are you going to go out on a date with me? First, I'm a kid. Like, it makes no sense. Like,
yeah, she's like,
give me the money.
You get the box with me for a game. Yeah, like,
that
kid's smart. I'm keeping that card for a while until he wins Cy Young. Until you hold on to that card.
Yeah.
But it was pretty funny when I saw Of course, he's an 11-year-old kid, man. I'm over here ripping packs trying to get it, and then this kid's set for life now. But good for him. Good for him. I'm not hating, but this is funny.
His mustache is legit, by the way. Skeen's got that legit thin.
He'll be the new the stash. Yeah. Cortez is gone now. Yeah. So we need. I mean, Ben Rice is still there, but that it fits perfectly. He doesn't need the beard.
Look at what Graham said.
Has more of that Thurman Munson type of mustache. We need that.
Yeah, Max can't meet Livy Dunn. He'll get in trouble.
Yeah, no, I would shake her hand and be on my way. Before the hand of doom slaps me in the face.
That's why anyways, I could talk to Livy Dunn, no problem, because
me too.
I don't have a lady to worry about.
Me too. I'd contemplate taking that offer. Meet Livy Dunn.
Oh yeah, go in the press box with her and stream the whole time, like Kai Sinet and all them.
There you go.
IRL stream.
Is there any chance the 30-second Frencher from you?
7 minutes in heaven.
What happens in that box stays in that box.
Oh man.
Oh God.
So since we're getting off topic, back to the list,
Sorry.
guys.
Sorry, guys.
Is there any? So I got a couple questions for you guys. Is there any sleeper picks on this list that you guys think are sleepers? Give me your sleepers and trade bait.
Let's see. I'll look at the list if you guys.
I think my sleeper would be Brando Maia.
Maia.
Yeah, that would be my sleeper. I think that kid can be special. My trade would probably be one of the pitchers. We have a plethora of pitchers on this list, so I'm gonna go with.
I'm gonna go with Selvage's trade bait.
Same. That's mine.
Selvage.
And for my sleeper, he's not even on the list. I said this earlier. Zach Messenger, 25 years old, could be my sleeper. Throws 99 with really solid mechanics. He does need to work on a little bit of off speed, his slider and stuff. But he's from the University of Virginia, which is in my state. Could be a September call up this year. I think he's going to be called up this year.
I'm gonna go with the SH boys, Shields and Schlittler, whatever his name is.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, they need to make that some merch.
Oh man,
those are my two sleepers right there. My trade bait's probably, damn.
You know who else can be a trade bait? Aaron Boone's already hyping him up. Clayton Beater,
yeah.
Because that's what happened with Durbin. They hyped up Durbin. Oh, he's gonna be he's gonna be a big part of this team. That's exactly what he said about Clayton Beater.
They got them so good too. We got them good.
Yeah.
Which Durbin could be a beast. We could all, look back and be like, "Damn, we might have lost that." But for now, we won.
I think because of George Lombard Jr. and Arias, they were more comfortable with giving away Durbin.
I would agree. And Arias, and now they have all these, the infielders they drafted. This kid this year, and they just got layers and layers and layers of infielders, man. My God.
That's pitching.
One.
Infield and pitching.
That's what we need.
Left. Number one, Jason
the
Dominguez. Overall, if you could sum it up, each one of you guys, what's your take on Dominguez? Well, what do you expect him to be? What do you hope him to be?
My prediction for Dominguez in this upcoming season, I would be happy if he hit 250, 20 home runs. If he hit 250, 20 home runs, I'd be ecstatic with that, and I would have no complaints. And I looked the other day, Fangraphs is saying 249, 20 home runs. I think they had him at 20 home runs. So my projection is right there. And this was even before I looked at Fangraphs, I promise. But I said 250, 20 home runs. So Fangraphs is right there. But that's. If he does better than that, then hey, I'm not going to complain. But we'll see. We got to give him a full season, and we got to be patient with him. That's the big thing. Again, Yankees fans, prospects, patience. They don't belong in the same sentence.
Nope.
At all. I'm just saying.
Well, and if he doesn't hit 280, he should be demoted back to AAA.
Oh, he should. They should just package him with Giancarlo Stanton and just trade him.
No, he needs to hit 300, or he's going to go back to AAA. I'm serious. This kid needs to hit 300 with 35 home runs and be in line for the MVP.
That's so unrealistic.
Or he's going back to AAA.
Hank Aaron Award. If he doesn't get all of that, he's trash.
Silver Slugger.
Yeah.
I want all the awards. No, realistically, I would say 260 batting average, 20 home runs. I'm right with NFE there. Give us 80 RBI. That'd be nice, right? That'd be nice for a little rookie. I think he would win Rookie of the Year with those numbers. 260,
if he hit
20, and 80.
60 to 70, would you be cool with it, Max?
Yeah, I would be happy with it.
Okay.
Because we got guys I think his role. It's going to be interesting where his role is going to lie in this team, because we already talked about the whole leadoff situation. I personally think Jazz should not lead off. So I think that leaves Dominguez. And like Ace said, they didn't really talk about Volpi. So right now, I think Dominguez might win that leadoff spot. So he might not have a lot of RBI because he's leading off.
True.
So as long as he's getting on base, hitting 260 or above in his rookie year, I would love 270, but I'm being realistic a little here. I think that's a great rookie campaign. But one thing I want, I don't care if he hits 250, 260, stay healthy.
Yeah.
I want
Just
to.
just stay healthy, please. Like
No,
every time this kid has got an opportunity, he has been hurt. Like when Stan went down, his oblique was messed up. Like
Yeah.
he could have been such like imagine Dominguez last year with Stanton hurt for those 2 months with the hamstring injury. This team could have been way different.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want, man. Just stay healthy. Give us about 150 games or so, and I would be happy there. Just
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm gonna
Ace?
say 262, 25 home runs is what I want to see. I think he can do it. I think he's got the pop to do it. I want to see consistent defense as well. Let's keep the errors down to a minimum. Just look like you belong out there because you go into left field, you know what I'm saying? Like we alluded to earlier. If Spencer Jones comes up, you know what I'm saying, even with Cody Bellinger in center field and Dominguez in left field, you basically have 3 center fielders in the biggest part of Yankee Stadium, which is left center field. He's going to need to play, better defense than what we saw because that's the biggest critique that a lot of people have on him right now. I just want glimpses of what we've thought he can be for years because we've heard of Jason Dominguez coming down the pipeline for so long. Just give us those moments, give us those glimpses. Like it's like Max had alluded to. We don't know what his role is going to be. If he's the leadoff guy, yes, the RBIs will go down. Also depends on the bottom of the order as well. But just give us, good consistent play. And a guy like this don't be the reason why we're not winning games. You know what I'm saying? Just play your role. Yankee fans have to have a lot of patience. Allow him the same opportunity that you afforded Anthony Volpi, a chance to develop at this level. Stop being so, judgmental on him. He's a kid. He's young. But the kid looks like a stud. He looks like a ball player. And I'm excited to see what a full year of Jason Dominguez, because you can't keep him out anymore. It's his time.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do it any longer. Let him go out there. Let him rip the cover off the ball. And let's go.
I would like a 20-20 out of him, whether it's 20 homers and 20 steals or 20 doubles and 20 steals. Some kind of 20-20.
He could do it.
As Volpi gave us 20-20 as a rookie. So if he can match what Volpi did in terms of 20-20, I'll take it.
he
With
can
the
definitely do
batting
it.
average and just, competent play all around, I'd be happy with that because I think he's going to be surrounded by a better lineup here. He'll have more protection offensively no matter where he bats. So I do think that he has, and I'm very much looking forward to a full season of Dominguez. Like you said, Max, stay healthy, man, please.
How
This
long
team's
have we waited? How long have we waited for Dominguez being a part of this everyday lineup? Like how long?
Yeah.
We've been waiting a while. I mean, he would have been one of your starting outfielders for 2024, but unfortunately, he had Tommy John, and that's why the Yankees had traded for Verdugo. And like you said, he would have came up when Giancarlo got hurt, but he had that friggin' oblique injury, and when he was, I know I've talked about it many times, but the fans were quick to rush him up, but it was just like you got to let him. What up, Fortrain Mazza? But you had to let him continue playing at the minor leagues so that way he can continue getting healthy, continue getting better. Because you didn't want to rush the guy up. That was a lot of my argument with some of the fans. So,
and expect growing pains too. Like
Absolutely.
he's gonna make mistakes. He's gonna, we're all gonna sit there and watch the game, and he's gonna drop a ball or two or misread a fly ball. Like it's gonna happen, man. Just understand that. Hopefully it's not a lot. Hopefully it's not like Aaron Hicks out there. But yeah, like just be prepared for that and don't beat the kid up too damn much. He's young. He's gonna make mistakes.
Well,
we all do, even when we're older.
Left field is tough. We saw Judge make a couple mistakes when he played short in left field, like not stopping at the wall because he didn't know the dimensions of it. It's tough, but I agree with what Max said. Limit the mistakes. We can't have like that blunder, Max, like he did last year, where he didn't know where to throw the ball. Like that's inexcusable. If you drop a ball, it's one thing, but you not knowing where to throw, that's a fundamental thing. You gotta I think that was more of like he was getting a little nervous, like the
he
hips
didn't
and
know
stuff like that.
He was like, should I try home or should I try the cutoff man? Yeah.
Your fundamentals have to kick in there, and you got to know where to go.
Just let him develop. And just before we wrap, something for you guys. My brother-in-law is a doorman in a building that Jason Dominguez just moved into.
Wow.
So I'm going to try to get him on here. Dominguez. I'm going to try to get a meet with him. If I can get him on here, I'd like to have you guys on with me.
I'd be down.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I'd
I would
appreciate
love
it.
that, bro. I would
Right.
love that.
So I'm working on that behind the scenes. I'm gonna
Uh-oh.
get to meet him first, and then I can't promise anything, but I'm going to try. But my brother-in-law's I've got a picture with him already with Dominguez, and he's pretty cool. So I'm going to try to make this happen.
Hell yeah. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
If you're gonna make it happen, you got to make it happen soon. Because with spring training and regular season.
Oh yeah, I mean, whenever I can get him.
Yeah.
Season
All-Star break.
I don't
Yeah.
know,
He's back home.
he might be playing in a game. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Ooh, okay.
This is
Might
true
be the
too.
home run derby.
This is
Maybe.
true too. So I want to see what I can do here, but I can't thank you guys enough for coming on. This is a
Of
blast.
course.
Thank you to the chat, everybody. And again, I'm linking all their channels down below. So please, if you haven't subscribed to them, please do that. Max Coverage to the Ace and to for the Strike Zone. So I appreciate all you guys. Thank you to the chat. I got to give over the TV coverage here to my wife. My wife's got to get on a call in a little bit, so for work. But guys, I appreciate you guys coming on. This was phenomenal.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Anytime,
Appreciate
brother.
you.
Anytime.
I would love to do it again, and hopefully with a player in the near future too. So stay
yeah.
tuned. And guys, thank you again. Everybody, peace and love to all these. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you on the other side. All right, let's see.